February 17th, the monthly meeting of the Hardwick Electric Department. Not too many from the public this year, but four of the commissioners are here: Miles, Reno, Roger, myself, as is Scott Johnstone, our general manager, and our new controller, Renee. Renee, I don't remember that last name.
Gregorio.
Nice Italian name.
Yes, very Italian.
Now I'm really getting excited. So we have a quorum. Any modifications to the agenda?
I'd like you to add a contract modification for the advanced meter infrastructure project right after the Flatland Solar. And it's an action item, so you actually have to add it by a vote.
So you need a motion?
Yeah, correct. Add AMI contract.
So I move to add to the agenda an AMI contract that needs to be reviewed and approved by commissioners.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Done.
Thank you.
Okay. Public comment? Do we have anything?
Before you get to the public comment, I did want to introduce Renee publicly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In case anybody watches TV. So Renee joined us today, and as you all know, retired at the end of the year, so you've had this window, and I both want to acknowledge that Karen really pulled hard this last month and a half to keep us floating and make most everything work on the finance side. But it's great that we had only a short window, and we were really lucky to catch Renee, who both lives locally, grew up reasonably locally, so knows the area, has roots here, and just excited to have her. And she came to us via state government. She worked in the tax department. So I didn't know if you wanted to say a couple words about yourself. You probably don't want to talk about yourself.
So the last decade, I completed my undergrad at Champlain with my bachelor's in science and accounting, and then I also received a liberal studies degree, studying associate's degree at CCB. So I love learning. If you can't tell, I'm always in school. I'm 50% of the way done my MBA program right now, so in public administration. So constantly learning and taking on new challenges. So I'm really looking forward to this opportunity and diving in. Government accounting is much different, and obviously utilities are managed different through FERC, so this is going to be a good challenge for me, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I have a great support team, and Karen's wonderful. She's been a great mentor today, and yeah, so I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this.
Welcome home.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And we have hooked her up, at least already started to, but she's got the broader network of folks in similar positions. And you go to Morrisville, Meredith, and Swan is already teed up. So she'll have the sage old heads to lean on when she needs them.
Yeah. And I know sometimes when those more experienced people have been in their job longer, oftentimes I see managers feeling like, well, I might look like I'm not confident, I might look like I'm not knowledgeable, maybe I should just tough it out on my own. Please don't do that. Please, we will think more highly of you the more you are tapping into what Scott's made available.
Yeah, no.
And we've seen it go both ways, and the best way is just be a lifelong learner by asking questions, asking people. Please do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can give an example today.
Yeah,
Karen said, oh, payroll takes me like 45 minutes. Well, it was 1 o'clock in me because I was just like rambling on with so many questions and how it references into the budget. And so I think this will be a good experience, and I'm not shy to chat. So I'll be leaning on them quite a bit.
And then Scott's probably told you, we have no problem, if you need something signed.
Great.
It's not an imposition for us. We view it as we sit in these meetings once a month, and then the whole team works every day to make Hardwick Electric work. So we're happy any given day during the month to come sign something. It's the least we can do.
Yeah.
So, usually it's just, sometimes I'm out of time, sometimes, each one of us is here some of the time and
Right.
not all the time, so.
And we're happy to help.
Great,
Or
awesome.
call for anything.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty open.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
This is
Looking
Jake, I
forward
don't know if
to
you've met Jake.
Hi, Jake,
Hi,
Renee.
Great to meet you.
You too. Yeah, thank you.
Someone else has joined us. Scott, you got it?
Yep, no, I've let him in, so if you're at public comment, you can see if he has anything for you.
Okay. I think that's Rose, public comment.
Will, is there anything you want to say tonight?
Yeah, I was hoping to just take a quick minute. I believe some of you may remember that I came before you last year, 2025, I believe in May, representing the Orleans County Natural Resource Conservation District, and I proposed a clean water project for the Caspian Public Beach. I was approved to move forward with the preliminary designs of that project, which we successfully acquired the grant to do so, and we went through that work with some public outreach, both in Hardwick and in Greensboro. We got some public feedback, and we produced the preliminary designs. I know that that property is being discussed by both communities right now and maybe somewhat in limbo. So I'm not sure what the appetite of this Board of Commissioners is in terms of moving forward with that project or hearing more about it. But for on our end, to close out the grant and finalize those preliminary designs, we would like to have some input or approval from the landowner, being yourselves. So originally I'd reached out with the offer of maybe getting myself on the agenda so that I and the designer of that project could come and present the work that we've done. If you're too busy and you're not interested in a full-blown presentation, then I'm happy to compromise, do something a little bit smaller and briefer. So whatever works best for you all.
Will, did you send that to me, or did you send it to Sarah, or where did it go? Because I don't know.
I sent one to Sarah, and then I sent a couple to you. I believe I reached out to all of the board members at one point about a month ago.
Okay.
And so, yeah, just looking to get some feedback.
Let me find your email, and then I suspect we can get you on the next one.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yep, I'd love to hear it. You said to the board member, which board, the HED or the
Yeah.
select board? Because I didn't see anything.
The Board of Commissioners, using the emails that are available on your website.
Yeah.
So presumably everyone in the room.
There's some great designs in there that we.
Is there?
Yeah, and it's, thanks for sending that along. It's
Yeah.
great to look at.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
take it out.
Great, we'll get you on an agenda.
Great, so should I plan for March 17th then?
Yep,
Sounds good. I'll be there and wearing bells.
perfect,
You should, it's St. Patty's
All right.
Day, right?
Thanks so much, everyone.
thanks.
We're green.
Can do.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of January 20th. Any comments to these minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
I would like to comment that they were great, and if anybody is examining the public records, these are informative in the way that I've never seen them in the past. I don't know who was responsible, but kudos to however that was done.
We good? We done?
Got done.
John? Can we get a second?
Second.
No discussion, any discussion, all in favor? Done.
All right, I've got two sets of minutes to sign. The December 16th one you approved, but we didn't have one that didn't have the watermark on it, the draft watermark. So December 16th and December 20th right there, we signed. I think only one person has to sign them, if I recall. I think, was Roger the clerk? I don't remember. Is there a name on it? Again.
Recorded by and commissioner.
So any commissioner, I guess. Any commissioner can sign, most likely.
Any clerk can sign.
Whoever wants to. I'll do the recording by. That's easy.
Okay, approved banking modification authority.
All right, couple things going on here. So, you know, at the last meeting, you added me as a signer, and I think you took Beth off and did all that stuff. But apparently there's other authorities that need to be approved so that changes can be made to add people, you know, to not signing authority, but to be able to make a modification to the way that the account works or those sorts of things. So they just need to have a motion that says, and I think I wrote it for Renee and I, if I recall, that we can work with the bank and make necessary modifications. And then we also need to have, as part of those authorities, have, make sure, actually we'll do this with the next one, we add her as a signer on the banking accounts. We need to add her to our credit card account. We'll do that on the next agenda. So we just need to have, for Renee and I, to be able to manage our various banking accounts and have the authority to change them as necessary.
Okay, and there was also an email about Karen needing access to get information off the accounts to use them. So is that part of this, or is that?
I think you already took care of that.
Well, I am Sunday, I want to talk to you first, I'll take care of it
So
tomorrow.
I would add, I think we could add Karen to the list. It could be all three of us. And that would just, in a broad way, you'd be covered.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking for. And then basically the banks called out and said, well, you gave them the authority to sign, you didn't give them anything else. So at least one of the banks was like, you didn't go far enough. I've never had a bank call that before. Usually it's inferred if you write those checks on it that they have the authority, but one of our banks said, no, that's not enough. So we just need a motion to add the three of us to have the authority to manage our banking accounts.
Okay, so make a motion that we add Scott, Renee, and Karen to our banking systems to allow them to have authority to look at and modify the accounts.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. The next one, I wrote it as check signing, but then we also, for today, so we need check signing to add Renee, and then we also need, since the only name on our credit card is Beth, we need to add Renee as our representative on our credit card with People's Trust. So we need those two things for both check signing and credit card authority to add Renee to those.
Just Renee.
Yeah, because I'm already a check signer. We're not taking anyone off the check signer, but we only need one person on the.
Beth is already off it.
Beth is already off it, so we just need to add Renee to the credit card and add her as a check signer on all of our accounts.
Okay. So we need a motion to allow Renee to be added to the ability to sign checks and to use our credit card. Anything else, Scott?
That's it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to get a minute, I'll do this and see if we actually need to sign it, if I do, or if I do. Actually, I'm going to hand that to Renee.
Yep, I can do it.
Probably just me, but just in case we need them while we have them here, if you don't mind. Thank you. Well, here, we can have these back to you since they have to go with you. All right, thank you.
All right, Eager.
Acre. I had this in your packet, so basically, for a while, the state, through policy and regulatory, have been trying to make sure that lower income Vermonters have access to the solar revolution, if you will. And every utility is supposed to have programming. NEPSA realized early on that expecting every single community to figure out how to develop and design and implement a program on their own is not going to be a very functional and efficient way to do it. At the same time, Orleans was developing a solar system, I forget, just 2 or 3 or 4 megawatts, but a larger scale solar system, and they were willing to carve out a piece of it so we could all acquire solar from them, and then NEPSA will make it available to lower income Vermonters on our system. So we have an allocation based on our size of 99 customers of ours can have access to that, up to 99. The state will tell us who's qualified. So VEPSA won't tell us, so tell VEPSA. The outreach will happen, VEPSA will do the outreach, and if people sign up, they'll get a bill credit of something like $25 a month. That's basically what will happen.
Is it based on kilowatt hour usage, or is it?
No, it's just a
flat?
straight credit. Just the way that
Just a
they
flat
decided to
number.
do it is a $25 credit on their bill. And none of this is part of the motion, I'm just giving you a background on how it got there. So to make it legit, then we have to be buying that power on their behalf. And so this power sales agreement is technically the power that those customers are buying. And so this power sales agreement, which is basically about at our average system cost, enables us to acquire the power that then they're buying, that they're using, and then VEPSA through a grant, because they also got grant funds. VEPSA actually has enough money to pay us the $25. So we're made entirely whole. But to pull it off, we need to have this power sales agreement in place. So I know that's a
So it's,
big
no, but
concern.
it's really important, because with these programs, I'm always watchful of, are we going to get into something like net metering,
Yeah.
where residential net metering, benefited wealthier people and hurt needy people.
Correct.
And that's just lousy. So
Good news here,
this is
no
this is
news at
neutral.
all, just
This
a
is
no
neutral.
budget.
Yeah. Thank goodness. So it's really the grant. As long as you can come up with a grant,
Correct.
you're good to go.
But in order for VEPSA to do this, they need to make sure that, since they're buying the power for this from Orleans, they need to have an agreement with all of us that will offtake it from them.
Great.
So that's what the power sales agreement tries to do.
And that'll be dependent on production, right? So we're purchasing dependent on production, but the
Yep.
credit to customers is flat.
Just happens.
It's not based on if there's more production or less.
And it's somebody else's money.
Correct. It's not ours.
It's ours. A key feature.
Of course.
And we buy from them at the same price we're selling to the user.
We're not selling it to the user, we're just bringing it into our system and the user's just getting a bill credit. So in theory,
Bill credit.
in a circular theoretic loop, we're selling it to them, but not really. It's not the functional way we're doing it, because it was just easier. This way there's no flat files to upload onto our billing system, and how do we figure out the ratios every month? We just upload a bill credit onto our system for whoever's been enrolled, and every month the state will tell us if they still meet income guidelines, and they'll tell us.
And tell us again the enrollment, the identification of these people and their enrollment. Who does the work?
So the state will do that. It's through the Health and Human Service Agency.
Oh, okay.
Who has that data.
Okay.
So
They'll just give us a list.
they'll just give us a list. VEPSA is going to market to the list. We don't even have to do that. And then VEPSA says, hey, you've got all 99 of yours are signed up. If somebody moves out of our service territory, then we need the next person on the list can sign up. Once we get to the 99, and so that's the idea.
Wish it was more than $25.
Yeah, great. Well, I was going to ask I'd be curious what proportion $25 of the average enrollment is
Most
going to
people's
cover.
bills are, it depends on, you have heat pumps,
Right.
whether you have joint, is it a multi-family building? But, an average bill is a couple $100, so it's.
So, yeah, like if you're in a trailer
Might be higher.
and you're heating with oil, usually,
Yeah.
in a trailer.
Yeah.
So the power is basically,
Probably less than a couple $100 unless you're using space heaters. On
Yeah.
trailers, people also supplement
Throw
space
that in.
heaters.
Okay.
I don't know in which case.
$100.
I'll bet it's less.
Yeah, that's less than $100.
Yeah.
It should be less.
So
than that.
$25 would be a
Yeah.
significant portion.
But if you then are tossing in space heaters,
Mhm.
all bets are off, right?
So at least, something between 10 and 20% of that folks' power cost. My other question was, we've talked about VIPSA marketing and communications before a little bit in other contexts. Do you have a sense of what type of marketing or how they get in front of people? Okay.
Because they're going to have a list, and so they'll be able to directly outreach in this case. There's other cases where they've tried to just make ads and stuff, and I've been kind of banging on them hard, that when they do that, they have to include the local utility, not because our brand is so wonderful or anything, but people at least know who the heck we are.
Yeah,
You all have come to know what PEPSA is.
Yeah.
There's nobody outside of this building that knows what the heck PEPSA is in this town. right?
Absolutely.
Unless they've served on this commission before.
yeah, yeah.
So if you get solicited from PEPSA as a person who lives here, you're going to hang up because you're going to think it's a scam, right?
Would you anticipate, would you anticipate VEPSA calling or emailing or?
I'm not
direct
sure what
mailing?
they're building our plan now.
Okay,
They're supposed to start, I believe they said by April, the outreach. So that's
Okay.
why they need things signed. So
great. That'd be great to, know over time, and I
Yeah.
know Miles has brought up in the past too, just general programs and everything. The outreach side of things from VEPSA, I think could be a real strength, but,
it's not
We
their
wanted-
strength today. I can
right,
tell you that.
okay. And maybe aspirationally it could be, and I know reaching, when you talk about programs that also reach lower income folks or this or that, you can't just say, oh, digital will be great, put it on a website, like, we have to meet people where they're at, so.
Correct. Yep.
Great.
So. So the action on this is just to authorize the general manager to enter the contract.
At the 13.4%,
Yeah.
or at the price agreed upon,
To enter the power sales agreement.
that will take this
Yeah.
portion.
Yeah.
I move to authorize general manager to enter into the power sales agreement.
Seconded?
Any discussion? All in favor? We have discussion?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, all in favor? You're really on votes. There's a million vote for Miles.
The next one's Flatland Solar. So this is a solar project in Swanton that, I forget all the terms of art, so one of these two guys will know it, but they are far enough into their project development that they're grandfathered, so long as they keep moving, there's a term of art for that, it's not grandfathered, into the 30% tax credit. So at least in the next couple of years, it's going to be one of the last solar projects that happen. The reason that's important, and the reason this is in front of you, and the reason Betsy brought it forward, is as you look out about 5 years, in the 4 to 5 year range, we start having trouble filling our buckets with our RECs, the tier that solar of this sort fills. And we have a fairly healthy negative number as you get into the middle of the 2030s. So VEPSA jumped on this and basically made an allocation across the people that need it. Most was not on the list because we don't need it. We actually have the buckets full currently. And but for the ones that still have an imbalance, this has been distributed to try to help the VEPSA members get closer to where they're going to need to be. It won't be the last one, as you all know. Federal policy follows a wave, and there will be projects someday in the future, and it won't be the last opportunity, but it's the last opportunity for a while. And the price is right, it kind of fits in with our power supply portfolio. And so all in all, this is not the power sales agreement. This is simply, VEPSA wants to know that if they are going to sign a contract with the developer for this project in Swanton, that people are committed to take their percentage, maximum percentage, which in your case is what, 13.4 or something like that?
For this one, 11%.
11 on the Swanton.
11,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what they're looking for a motion for. It's just that we're intending to take our maximum allocation. If the contract comes back and it's all of a sudden the numbers are wonky and they want 25 cents a kilowatt hour, we're not obligated to sign the contract. Just all things being equal, if it comes in as they say it's going to come in, we'll take our full allocation as they've offered it, is what they're looking for.
And what's the positive 10 million? What is that implying?
Sorry.
Page 21, the end of the second paragraph.
Should I write these things and you're actually going to ask me a question about it? I on the back. Page 21. You said the bottom of the page?
Second paragraph, last sentence.
At the projected alternative compliance payment, project provides a positive of 10 million.
Oh, it should say, it's net economic benefit. That's not just for Hardwick, that's for the whole project.
Whole house, it's the whole
Yeah.
project.
And the statement there, we're not, are we,
Net present value, that's what it is.
but we are not providing capital.
No,
So it's somebody else's capital that's getting the return. We'll just be buying the power.
so I believe what they're looking at here is buying it at this rate and having access to the RECs
Yes.
will provide the VEPSA membership and
Okay.
and that present value of 10.
And we, as a member of
Against all
VEPSA,
alternatives.
yes,
So
that's why we should care.
11%, you get 11% of that over the life of
I
the
got
project.
Okay.
it's
So
looking
the
at-
project is economically attractive,
Correct, against all
and
alternatives.
we're going to need this type of.
Anyway,
Okay. So what's the motion you need on this?
just need a
Move
motion.
to have a vote to communicate, to confirm to VEPSA that we have an intention
To take the
to take
maximum
our
allocation.
portion of the maximum
Yep.
allocation.
Yep.
That's a good motion. I think that was the motion.
There you go. Second?
I'll second. Any discussion? We're all good? All in favor?
Okay, one more action item. AMI, and so I don't even know if this needs to come here, and if you don't think it does, you can just tell me and I'll sign it. The only reason I brought it is because the original motion to join the AMI project was done here, last time I was here. Last time around, I think it was October of '24, when you joined it. It actually is a positive economic twist, but it does require a contract amendment. So in the original contract, the communication towers, they aren't really towers, but the boxes that go up, they're called DCUs. I don't know what that stands for, but basically they're the things the meters talk to. Because VEPSA had to get the FCC license for them for all of VEPSA membership, in the original contracts, they were going to be VEPSA's property. It was paid for out of the grant, and VEPSA felt like they needed to own them if they had the license. Along the way, as it became clear that these things will need to be maintained and occasionally changed out in the middle of the day if they're not working, VEPSA came to understand, like, we don't know how to do that. And all the members were like, we're not going out and fixing your crap. So the dialogue twisted to, so VEPSA did some research and they found out they don't have to own the communication devices to own the license. So then it was like, okay, so we're going to amend this contract, propose amendment so that the utilities own their own DCUs and VEPSA just maintains the license. The reason I say it's positive economic value is then, so we get the asset on our books, which we get to depreciate, and there's an economic value in that. See, I know a little bit about it, not like you.
You're doing great.
So I'm guessing, I don't know what these things cost, they're $2,000 or $3,000 a piece. They're, we've got almost 50 of them, so it's $150,000.
And we were going to pay for them anyway.
Correct.
It's just they're on our books as an asset.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, it's not even just a push, it's actually a net benefit to us
Sure.
economically. So I don't know, I at least want to give it light of day. If you want to do a motion to authorize me to sign it, it's fine. If you're like, no, we're good, you didn't really need to be here, I'm perfectly fine signing it. I just felt like since it originally came from here, I should at least come back and tell you about it.
I think you can just sign it. But what's the status of where we are in terms of getting going with
Yeah,
AMI?
so we have all the DCUs, they're sitting in the shop. The crews are doing all the make-ready work, so we know the location at the poles where they all have to be attached and put up. In a few places, we have to put in new poles because our poles are not in exactly the right location to get the signals to bounce exactly the right way. I think we have 47 or 49 of these we have to put up. So that's the first step. The order for the meters has been placed. So our 5,000 meters of ish, a little bit less than that, have been placed of all the different types. They should be in around April or May. And we're just, the dialogue with Meridian, our customer information system that these things all have to then dump into, that has started because the integration is complex. You can't really start installing the meters until you can integrate. The good news is that the meter company, which is a company called Clara, and Meridian have integrated many times in the past. So while we don't know how to do it here, our vendor does know how to do it with them. So Renee's going to have to dive into all this as well. But that's kind of next. And the only other update on AMI is, which maybe I said last time, I don't remember, but the VEPSA had a grant that the current administration in Washington doesn't particularly like, and they were trying to claw it back. It was a revolving loan fund that Senator Sanders had got them during the previous administration. Current administration doesn't like it, so they were going to claw the money back, and VEPSA convinced them not to do that, to repurpose it. So the remaining funds of that grant are going to get added to the current AMI grant. So our percentage might go up a little bit from the 50, it was 49.2, and so whatever share we're getting of about $500,000 of the additional money that just dumped on top. So it'll be a little more money dropping on top. So everything, I would say by the end of the year, we should be done.
Oh, really?
You know,
That's great.
so a lot to do.
All the customers have been notified?
Not yet.
Not yet.
My view is that VEPSA is eager to get informing customers. We're doing the marketing for that. This is one where I definitely said we've got to cross-brand with this, and we need to have us do some of the direct marketing on this. We are obligated to inform customers that they can opt out. We should expect a 7 to 9% opt-out rate now. Within 2 to 3 years, everybody that's done this in the past finds it all to about 1% rejoin. As they hear from the neighbors that there's good value from having an advanced meter. So they're kind of big brother, I don't like government watching me goes away from most people. But my view is that if we start that any sooner than 60 days from when we're ready to go, people are going to forget, and they're going to show up and they're going to be screaming at you. So my view is it's got to be tighter to the window of when we're actually doing the work.
Sure. Yeah, but we're doing kind of outreach to explain to people what this is, why it's good for them.
Yep, and they've already done some, Gus already has the working documents for all that stuff. And some of that they're going to issue, and a bunch of it we're going to look at on the website. And get Sierra to do a bunch of social media posting. We'll do an opinion piece in the Hardwick Gazette.
Yeah.
Maybe get Paul to try to do a story on it. You know. So
Great.
we'll do a bunch of that sort of stuff to get the word out, let people know. So
Sounds like that would be June, May, June.
I think by the time we're really in the field, they're telling us, you know, the Claire is saying we should be able to start in April, and there's just no way that's happening. It's February, you know, so it's not happening in April. But if we can get started by May, June, we have a chance to get it done. Like, the critical thing is when you interface back from the install and it bounces through the VEPSA system, which it has to do, and then integrates back into Meridian, which is our customer information system. There are certain things that have to happen in the office, and this is a case where it's good we didn't go first. As the munis that went first found out that there's enough to do in the office that if you start installing more than a certain number of meters a day, you can't send your bills out. Swanton, as I understand, got 3 or 4 building sectors behind. Because they got over the tips of their skis
And close the doors.
and they installed a whole bunch of meters that couldn't be read. Because they
Well, in view of our cash flow problem
That
this
would be
year,
bad.
I think we need to tiptoe.
Exactly. So there is a model now is you start very slowly, you find out the carrying capacity, you figure out how you're going to move forward, and then you only do so many. Where Swanton landed was about 80 a day was about what could be done and kept up with. If you got beyond that, you were, but doing 80 a day, 5,000 takes a while. Right?
Yeah. Is there any prioritization of customers to roll this out to first?
We're going to have
as
to
that-
figure that all out.
Okay.
We haven't done any of that yet.
And certain customers might be looking for the benefit of the
Yeah, we won't do it that way because it'll be so inefficient. And this will be street by street.
Okay.
And we just, you gotta pick the most efficient way to
Yeah.
do it. Where you'll just be running around and then you'll have gaps that you never go back to because you forgot that you had a hole there. Even if you try to keep great records. So I suspect this is a one street at a time sort of thing, just from an efficiency perspective.
So that sounds a little funny to me, that VEPSA is playing with spectrum licensing, but is this ownership transfer happening across all the members or only Hardwick?
All of us.
Great.
So they have the license for all of us. It's
I'm
one
not going to
license.
ask any more questions.
Yep, and it's all good.
Yep.
So, yep, it's all numbers. So I'll just sign it. It sounds like you don't feel like you need to act. I just thought it had at least have one, I'm comfortable with that. Good.
Thank you.
All right, finance report.
Any questions for us? And I'm going to tell you, I told her not even look. She did great, please. She doesn't know them. It's not this time, next time.
Yeah.
And I guess somewhere in your general manager, you talked about the FEMA money for the hydro plant. Can you talk about that?
Can you say I didn't hear you? I'm
So
sorry.
your general manager report, you touched on FEMA money for the hydro plant.
Yep.
Any sense, before we get there, about timing when that might be finished in operation again?
Oh, I would say the earliest would be late 27, more likely is 28. I mean, I just know how long, so how basically FEMA has said they agree with our $6.5 million price tag, and that it meets their rules and all of that. I have seen how long it takes to get from that to a signed agreement to let you start moving forward. And then you have to follow all the federal procurement rules, which will make us do qualification-based selection, and then the state has to negotiate with their engineer, and then you do bid, and then it's immensely slow. That's all I can tell you, and we won't be in control, unfortunately.
And I think the one open item you have is 1 pen stock versus 2. Is that
Yep.
still an open item?
That's going to be, so yes, that'll be an open item. That's actually part of what we'll have to decide. The $6.5 million, we kept it to 2 because that sets the ceiling for the project.
Right.
And so that's the maximum that we can do. And if we really think that we'll never have more than one turbine there, then we probably don't need 2 pen stocks.
Mhm.
So we could look at only doing half of them. One pen stock, rule of thumb, probably costs 60% of 2. Because the carrying cost is the carrying cost, right? So it's not 50/50, is the point.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't 70%.
Yeah, it might be 70,
Yeah.
I don't even know, but you'll save a lot, but not the whole.
Right.
And the other thing we got to figure out in this, and I've already talked to our FEMA experts, Disaster Recovery Service, or still helping us with all this FEMA stuff, is, we've got to figure out how to drill down and understand either when the risk of clawback goes away, or if there are ways to mitigate that. What other insurance policies you can get against that, and should we talk about that? If we get halfway into a $6.5 million project and we've had no reimbursement yet, and the money gets clawed back, then we'll end up with a project that we never would have approved. But the $6.5 million is damn it worth running. I haven't done the analysis of that.
No,
But I know the answer.
Yeah, we do too, yeah.
So we have to we have to do a lot of research on that, and we have to figure out if there's ways to mitigate that. Yeah.
I'm curious about other points in this process where we have kind of triggers that say this is not worth. I know the navigable waterway,
Yep.
the FERC regulation of it has come up.
Yep.
Are there any others that we could look at that are
I think the
sort of
first one,
moments where we
the
say,
first one is a big one. I may be one of the only people in the state that's not terribly afraid of the FERC process. Most people, if we end up being FERC regulated, we have to go get a 40-year license for this facility, you would be pretty normal people in Vermont to say, screw it, I'm running the other way. I'm one of the only people that would say, it's okay, I can see the light from the hole, let's go.
okay,
But I've been through it from both sides. I've been through it when I ran A&R, and I've been through it, we just finished, we got our deal agreement with the reservoir, Well, that's been generating for about 4 years now, not a deal. So, it doesn't frighten me to do it, but most people, when they hear clerk license, they don't do it.
Yeah.
It's a technical term.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, just
but
understanding
it
if
is
there's
one of those
any
points.
trigger points where we say,
Yeah.
we need to really consider walking away, because it's the sun, you get too far and
Yeah, we don't want to slide into it.
then you say, oh, we have to keep going just because we have. So,
And that's what I worry about, if you get, a few $1 million into this and then you
Yeah.
go back, then you may feel like you have no choice. And
Mhm.
that's what you gotta, we at least gotta go into it eyes wide open, right?
Big numbers.
Anything else on the finance stuff? We are doing okay. I would say just, we're doing okay. Winter is always the most expensive part of the year. Every utility, except maybe GMP, because, they have, private capital backers. Everybody gets behind on everything in the winter because power supply costs more. And then you spend all of spring and summer and into early fall catching up. Because through that period, there's windows when power is really stupid cheap. So you start catching up and then you start back up to the ground. And as I think I wrote to you in the mid-cycle note I said, power supply's hitting averages in the 40 to 57 kilowatt hour on the open market. And when the peak hour, set record, was 92 cents a kilowatt hour.
Wow.
Which was, the last record was 44.
All right, let's get that battery peak.
Yeah.
It's
Batteries
back
are
on the
good.
list.
If you want to talk about, why the hydro plant's important, so we were not as hedged as we usually are, because we don't have that hydro plant on. So we were only around 90% hedged, so we were buying about 10% of all of our power at those prices. Normally, we would have been buying 1 or 2% of our power at that price. So those power supply bills, when they show up, are going to hurt. They're going to hurt a lot. It's going to take a while to catch up on. We'll see it out. It's going to be painful. But we won't be alone. It's everybody. NEPS has already told us all. They know that we're all going to have trouble for a while. They get it. It's okay.
And they've got financing.
Yeah. So they're,
Well, good, that's why I'm thrilled that we're current with them now.
yeah.
When we came into the year current.
Correct.
So now, because if you weren't,
It'd be much
you wouldn't have that ability.
Yeah.
You would have already used it.
Yeah.
So that's good. So honestly, with the financial packet in here, reviewing December, I was, I think it looks like what you've done to be careful with cash has really paid off. Because we came through in December in a better cash position at the end of the month than when we started. So that's really good. Really good. And we didn't do it by slow paying debts yet. So that's good.
One other finance challenge we're going to have is, last month I told you that the bond bank was just going to extend the FEMA loans. And-
Yeah, we're kind of crossing over. Why don't we go to the general?
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of finance issues.
Yeah, no, that's why I was
Yeah.
grabbing the one from
Yeah.
finance. That may or may not be able to happen. When we checked with our attorney, he said that you can't really extend the note. You have to do a refund note, because electric communities can't do extensions on notes. We have to replace them. But by the time we heard that, there wasn't time for the March 1 deadline. So we'll probably have to pay the $90,001 that's due in March. And then there's a second one that's due in May. We may be able to bring you a note next month to replace that one.
How confident are we in that opinion? We can't extend it.
Quite, I'm meeting with Eli and the bond bank tomorrow, just to be doubly sure of that. But I think my guess is he's probably, that he's right on that, and we'll confirm that tomorrow. Got Renee sitting on that as well. And the $90,001 with that broadening of the current expense note that we did, we have room for that. If it wasn't for these crazy prices in January, we'd be better. And the other good news is that we've been, we got our 2023 stuff finally obligated from FEMA, which So once they, because it's all tied in with this whole hydro plant, so now that they accepted the scope of work for the remaining work, they agreed to obligate the stuff we've already finished. That means they can now send a check to the state. The state
And
tells
then
us,
you've got confidence, you know it's coming.
the state said plus or minus 45 to 60 days that we'll actually get the check. So by this May date for the second round, we should have all the FEMA money from 2023 in to pay it with. So we should be okay. Be tight, but, you know.
Even though you don't own this, you will shortly own it.
I can't wait to let this one slide.
Yeah, it's just watching all these money going out, money coming in.
Yeah.
The first item, the first bullet in your general manager's report related to the CCI, and I just want to, you know, usually I'm a little bit cautious about asking auditors what they think we should do. I think we should have some conviction about what we believe, and then we should work hand in hand with the auditors and wrestle to something that benefits from their expertise and broader view, but we're 100% comfortable with as a board. And just to confirm, the issue here is that our financial statements, every month that we send out a bill to CCI for the right-of-way vegetation management, every month that we sent out a bill, that active billing created a receivable.
Yep.
And that receivable is, with all that we know, that's bogus. And that is not an accurate accounting. So in that month, we said, oh, don't worry. At the P&L level, we're fine because it's a receivable. It's not a collectible receivable from all we know right now. And so we're going to close, we close those months, but the most important close we're going to do is closing the year. And I have a huge problem pretending that the year was better than it really was by saying, oh, don't worry, they owe us this money. I don't have any reason to believe that money's coming, and if it's not coming, then we should either write it off as not collectible, or we should add some general provision for accounts that aren't collectible.
So I told the auditor exactly what you just said.
Good.
That our bias was that this was not collectible, but we wanted to talk them through the particulars.
Good.
To make
And
sure that
really hit them hard, because when was the last time CCI paid us money for vegetation management?
Very long time ago.
Like months or years?
No.
Yeah, but that would be the kind of thing, go into that meeting and say, we've been sending out invoices every month, and the last time we received $1, it was when? And then at that point, it's, if we allow it to be, and if we close, I won't sign off on the closing of our books for 2025 with that dishonesty in it.
Yep.
Because it's doing everything wrong. You know, I mean, our rate cases aren't accurate, it's just bad.
No, I agree.
So
So yes, the one complicator may be, although I don't think that they're going to be willing to talk about past bills, but we do finally have CCI, FITM, or not FITM, they finally have agreed to come to the table and talk.
yeah, that's great, get it
Define-
cleaned. So we know what to do.
So,
Yeah.
define the relationship, and then once we define the relationship, provided we actually successfully do that, then they've also agreed if we define the relationship the way we see it today, that they'll engage in replacing the 1983 contract with a new one. So that it's clear that we actually have a contract that
Yeah.
is in today's.
We should
terms.
demand that, yeah.
And I have, and they've agreed to that. And we've gone up about 3 levels up the food chain in video. So we now have people that really do the whole region, not just Vermont.
Yeah.
So we got their attention with treating them the way we've been treating them. Even though it's created some pain for some of our other private partners, we've been meeting with carefully and helping them navigate. It has worked. We've got their, we're meeting in early March.
And so if we have December statements, usually once you close the books on December, you're closing the books on the year. So let's be careful. I would argue that we should say we have not done a close on December.
Yep. Okay.
And we gotta get this right, and then we gotta reissue December statements with that corrected.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
And I know the auditors they were supposed to come this week, and I begged them to come after she gets back from her vacation.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it didn't seem to make any sense to me to have them come this week and basically just both bury her and walk away without really any meaningful exchange, because nobody could have a meaningful exchange on their first day on this closing vote.
So in effect, what I'm really suggesting is I make a motion to not accept the December financial statements until this issue has been resolved and the statements are reflected. And I think it should come back to the commissioners, either between the board meetings or at the next board meeting, to review how it's being handled. How much of a write-off is there?
Yeah.
And what does the year look like? What does December look like in the year? I don't know, because it's sort of having this in the package, having us talk about it, it sort of conveys acceptance.
Yeah.
And I'd like to suggest that we not accept it.
Sure.
I think that's fine.
I think that's fine.
So,
Scott,
Yes, sir.
when is our meeting predicted? For
Well, it's
this?
actually scheduled. Let me take a look here for you.
March 10th?
Is that what it is? Oh, there you go. I think you're right. Let me check. No, I don't see it on March 10th, but it doesn't mean you're wrong.
Yeah, Hardwick meeting discussion,
Oh, yeah. What time is it at?
11 to 12.
Okay. I set the meeting, so beautiful.
When do we usually close our books? I mean, I know it's the end of December, when do we really finish?
well, we don't have audited statements forever,
Yeah.
but we walk around still thinking that
Yeah.
the year-end numbers,
It's around now, most of the utility things are closing around now. We're getting
Oh.
close, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of adjustments at the end of the year, because you gotta close out your customer work and close out your projects and get the paperwork to catch up, to get to someone like Renee, so she can make the adjustments, and it's usually around now that it's happening for most of the meetings, I will say. So, yeah.
I think Reno brought up liens last month, in CCI assets.
Oh, yeah, I did check into that, we cannot do that. I can't remember the reason why, but there was a term of art reason why we can't place it on video.
Thank you.
I have a note somewhere, but I can't
Yep.
remember what the reason was, but we can place liens on our customers, but they're not a customer. We'd have to take them to court, take them to the claims court. Anyway, we do that, we can do that, we can take them to court.
How big is the write-off? Order of magnitude?
$100,000,
I think near 300,000.
yeah. It's a lot.
Is there a point of litigation?
No,
only if you can.
I give Brian all the credit in the world to get him to come to the table.
He's working hard at it.
That's wonderful.
Yep, yep. Our strategy to force them to actually live by the other parts of the contract is what's working. That's what we're doing different than everybody else.
Great.
Is, we went and looked at the old 1983 contract that they cherry picked one thing out of. I said, but there's a lot more in it. Now you got to do all this. And they don't like that at all. So, good.
Do we need a motion, or we're just not going to close?
I offered a motion if you want to second it and vote it, but
I'll second it. Have a discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And then, let's see. Any other questions you all had on my report? I had a couple other items to add. Is there anything that was in there?
Just to refresh me on the peaker plant format, I understand we own, VIPSA we have a portion of that plant and we receive regular income from the availability of the peaker plant, correct? Do we, when that plant is running and selling power, are we receiving that same, a portion of those production?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So that's the only good news about being cold is that thing ran nonstop.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if it had gone down and not been available, we would have also been on the hook for the penalties
Yeah.
for not running when you're called by the regional grid. But, you know, that facility's over and it's also over in Swan. So, and, so, yeah, they've got, every peaker plant in New England got called pretty permanently for about 2 weeks.
So we're receiving the revenues directly or through the credits?
So it shows up on our bills from VIPSA as a credit.
Okay,
So it nets things out for us.
great. And then we also receive a flat rate for the availability of the year,
I
correct?
think so, yeah, there's
Is that-
markets like that where we get every month, we get a little bit of it.
Okay.
I think that's how those markets work.
What's the fuel source for the peaker?
I don't remember if it's oil, I think most of them are oil. Up there, it could be natural gas, I don't think it is somehow, but it could be. But I think it's oil.
Off the top of my head, when we discussed it in August, I think we were talking about it being oil.
I think it is, yeah. Most of the peakers are oil. Which a whole lot of our inverters running on. On a normal day, we're like, the pool power is like 70% natural gas, 15% nuclear, and the rest is renewables. And, you know, during that cold snap, I saw natural gas as low as like 13% instead of 70. What happens is the way that the call system works, when it's cold out, if it's cold in southern New England, then home heating is called first for natural gas. The natural gas gets used there before you can generate with it. So right when you need more power, with your main resource, because ISO New England didn't think this through and designed it backwards, falls off the table. And then the only thing you can turn on is oil and coal. That's what you got.
And coal takes a while to turn on.
Coal takes a long time, so mostly you turn on oil.
Yeah.
And a couple little spots that have coal available that you can eventually turn on. It's a crazy system. Makes no sense at all.
So,
If
Scott, will you, I think it'll just be good learning from the past. As we start going, can you give us visibility, at least monthly, if you do a mid-month update or something, it'd be good, as to when we start going late paying, starting with VEPSA or anyone else. And so we have a real sense of how big that is. Okay, we're, you know, as of the end of February, which is coming up pretty soon, we're going to be
that should be
200,000 in the hole or 100 or
It is at
whatever.
least that. So and in theory, February should be about the worst of it.
Oh, okay. Because I even thought with the radios coming up, obviously we need to do that. It's 40,000, you know,
That was in the budget.
it's going through VEPSA, it's
Yeah.
in the budget. Is there, you know, can that be slow paid or,
Yeah.
so.
That,
If it has to.
Velco is doing that one, and that one, as long as we pay it by the last day of the year, they don't care.
So that's good. It's great you know stuff like that. That's good.
Yeah. So they'll be fine on that, so long as they don't. I actually had a meeting because the timing of this was weird, the radio project. So I asked them at one point, because of budgeting cycles, if we could actually kick that to 27, even though it was being done in 26. Because it was very late in the budget process by the time they were able to get final numbers. And they said, no, we can't do that, but we really don't care when you pay it in 26, so long as you pay it. I said, well, we can probably manage that. So, yeah, that's that one.
Good.
I did want to give you, and you know, it was there as well, we did have a big Jackson Dam meeting today. So there's a lot of energy around dam removal there. And taking out as much as 2.5 million cubic yards of material, which will never happen because of so much material of what's silted in over the years behind it. So that's not actually their preferred recommendation, but that's how much they said is silted in. So, you know, I think the critical things, at least that I offered and Reno offered, was that, that it's not so much that there's any objection here. Our ratepayers aren't paying anything, because they can't, PUC wouldn't allow it. If they can find the money and they want to own the dam to take it down, it's, I told them I didn't think we objected. Obviously, that's your decision, not mine, but I don't think there's a lot of barrier here to doing that. I did note that while they're all very enthusiastic about doing it, that they better make sure they've got their math right, because they're trying to say that by taking out the dam and having more water rush more quickly out, that somehow that's not impacting anybody downstream. I said, probably Johnson's going to object if you can't prove to them that there's no downstream impact from more water rushing more quickly. And they kept saying that it's the opposite is true. I don't know, my engineering brain don't work that way. But if it is true, then fine. I've said a number of times, you don't have to convince me that if you don't want to have a public war with downstream communities, you better be ready to answer the question in a very viable way.
Are you talking about from a flooding standpoint?
Yeah, yeah.
I also, I think we're the next dam owner down the street.
Right, we are.
So
We talked
I
about
think
that too.
particularly for like sediment load
Yep.
going down, I think we should understand the impact
Yeah.
that if they say that they were talking about removing all the sediment from Hardwick Lake, so that I think we should consider what added loads are going to happen at the bulkhead.
We talked both about the silting in of down at Potterville.
Yeah.
And we also talked about the fact that 23 and 24 are overtopped and created $7 million worth of damage.
Mhm.
So if you're going to let more water go more quickly, we don't want, Hardwick Electric doesn't want you impacting Potterville.
Mhm.
So I don't know what other color you want to add.
Well, I tried to explain to them, no matter what they do down here is only the same effect as all the beaver dams and the impact that came all in one rush through the village. It's going to do the same thing removing Jackson Dam. Basically, it's going to create an inrush of one big flow, and it's going to be over the banks no matter what they do. It's not going to help Wolcott Street. Wolcott Street's going to be flooded regardless. I've lived through many of these floods, and it's going to happen.
This was with the new Lamoille modeling?
Yeah, well, the Lamoille model with the project with the Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, I was just led to understand that the Lamoille modeling
It
was...
does cover up here as well.
And they were supposed to do scenario planning for dam removal and not.
And the consultants today claim that modeling shows that if you take the dam out, everybody downstream is benefited. And I just have I need to understand the assumption of it,
They didn't
because it
show
doesn't
Yeah.
square up with intuition.
The best thing they could do is to open gates in prediction of.
Yeah.
They predicted how many days before we were getting 7 inches of rain, and everybody downstream with a hydro can benefit from this.
Yep.
And even through, if we can contain the rush and spill it slowly, it's a long-term gain and benefit to the hydros.
So there's a desire to have a joint meeting between you all, the select board, and potential funders as a next step. So I think, don't be shocked if that request is
And
made.
you're just, speaking for Hardwick Electric, I love what you're doing, because what you're trying to do is if we have a meeting like that, let's make sure we have enough factual evidence.
Correct.
So people aren't, you're not sitting there saying that doesn't fit with common sense.
Right.
Until you feel like all the information is
Correct.
passing the common sense test at a minimum.
Yeah, and Opie was saying similar things at the meeting on the
Yeah.
town side, so,
Yeah.
so, and I don't have an objection, a lot of dams should go, because, we're not using that dam for anything that benefits ratepayers now, so it's
Yeah.
just a liability for us, so.
Yeah. We just might want the right thinking.
Yeah, when I raise it, I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying, like, you know, in today's social media world, like if you let out information that doesn't square up, you're gonna get eaten alive and you'll never recover. It doesn't matter how good your science is. Once you make a misstep, you're done. Like, you better have your game plan in today's world. It's a different, our algorithm-based world will chew anybody up if you don't keep it right all the time.
Who were the stakeholders at that meeting today?
It was, let's see, the Conservation Commission was a rep from there. It was the steering committee that Reno was your rep on,
Okay,
with the consultants.
okay.
So it was really a steering committee meeting. It was a good meeting. There was a lot of good information.
Yeah, all that was, yeah, wonderful information. Yeah.
So, all good.
So Scott, I hesitate to ask, but reading the tea leaves as the federal regulatory landscape shifts and Governor Scott talks about us needing cheaper power.
Yep.
At some point, do we need to start gambling and trying to predict the future and saying we actually could stand up a lot more hydro than we ever thought was possible before, and we should actually hold on to these dams?
So, I don't know about holding on to these dams. They're so small. They weren't built to generate. They were built to release for downstream dams.
Okay.
These are not, they don't have a lot of head. You need head to turn turbines.
Yep.
So I don't suspect any of our little dams here. It's a reason to try to find a way to mitigate risk at Pottersville. I've been very clear in Morrisville that if anything, I want to find a way to buy more dams as part of their portfolio. For the reasons you're talking about. Not just because of the current crew in office, but because no matter how much more solar we add, and if we can ever get offshore wind back, hydro is just another form of baseload power most of the time. So with hydro and batteries will eventually get better. You can have the two of them in concert, can give you that core you need. Unless Vermont and New England are going to change back to clean energy from renewable, which there's an active discussion about that. So but then the problem is, these new plants are coming in at 25 to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. So they're whining that no one will pay attention to them and nobody loves them because of the past. But their problem is not that nobody loves them; it's that nobody would buy the power if they built them because they're not economic. In their current iteration. So, but somewhere we need base load power.
And does
That's
the
why I like that.
and does the liability of these small dams that are upstream as part of these old hydro systems, does the liability outweigh the potential strategic gains of keeping them as?
I think it outweighs it because I don't know that, I don't know that A&R would ever let you manage these little bodies of water for actual releases. They want static water and ponds and lakes now, where they used to allow them to be managed for different heights.
And we don't think that's going to change.
Static. I don't think that's going to change. Because that's not the federal government, that's from the state.
And a dam with sediment behind it just doesn't have the capacity. Like an older dam doesn't have the capacity to be useful downstream.
There used to be a hydro at the plant. There was a penstock that came down from Macville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Mike Sullivan actually looked into, and the state came in and determined that the brook that runs down through had a few fish in it and did not allow the venture. But if that were possible to look back into, I mean, regardless of where that project goes.
One of the things I'd like to look into is when we do the FEMA project at Hardwick, we should really look at adding a microturbine on the face of the dam. For about $1.5 million, you could probably add, I'm guessing this far upstream, a little smaller than Morrisville, probably be about a 200 kilowatt turbine, which would run 365 days a year. You basically take the bypass flows that you're not generating with, and you grab them and run it through a microturbine. It's just right now, money and energy are letting them bypass you. So when we're forming capital or whatever we're doing, our share of whatever we're doing down at Pottersville, my working number is about $1.5 million projects at that scale. Which I have talked to a couple of consultants, so it's not far off. So it's another way we can get more hydro. That whole plant's only 750. You could add almost a third more, at 30% more power just by adding that to that side of the road.
Yeah.
Not bad. 40-year life, not bad. Yep. And then just a reminder that next week I'm out, so I won't be around next week.
Happy vacation.
Thank you. And she'll be out starting a week from tomorrow, right? Yeah, right?
Monday, yeah.
She had a pre-set vacation before she started with us, so it'll be quiet here. Staff will be happy that we're going to do.
Well, the commissioners will stop in one day a week just to
There you go.
check the time that they're in.
And I didn't necessarily, I always leave the executive session on, but I didn't necessarily have an email on.
I've got one, yeah, let's do one. Yeah.
Okay, great, that's up to you.
So it's 7:11. Matter of regular session, going to executive session. Discuss VSA 313A1A and F.
You made that motion.
I did. Second.
And vote.
All in favor?
All right. All right. You should go in there.